I have quite the knack for being at the wrong place at the worst possible time. I don't know how I pull it off as flawlessly as I do consistently, but for some reason, I always manage to be at the worst place at the worst possible time. And today I'm going to be telling you a story of exactly that. Now, this isn't a funny or silly story. It's actually kind of just dark and morbid, but it's a story I want to tell. It's a story I may have told on the channel before. I'm not too sure, but screw it. Let's tell it again. So this took place a few years ago. I believe it was 2020, and I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. I was bouncing back from D.C. to Brooklyn, but my primary stay was in D.C. So it was really late at night, around 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was just getting back from a girl's house. And I remember I was going to spend the night at her house, but for some reason I couldn't. I believe I had like just something to do that I forgot that I needed to do, so I had to head back. And she lived like 2 hours away, so I obviously didn't expect to like come back home. So I got back home really late, and I had a big bag full of all my stuff. Like, you know, I was planning on spending the night, so I had like my laptop in there, a bunch of clothes, toothbrush, stuff like that. But it looked like a big full green tote bag. And I got back to DC after a long ass drive. Real late at night, I parked my car. We have like on-street parking in DC, so you can't always get your spot, especially it's late. Everyone's home and all the spots are taken. So I had to park on the other side of the street. You know, so like there's the roads right here and like the houses right here. I had to park like over here. So yeah, I had to park on the other side of the street. And I got on my car. I wrap around the front to get my big tote bag out of the passenger seat that I put there. And as I'm coming back around to then cross the street to walk towards my house, a black SUV, all black SUV. I couldn't tell if the windows were down or not, but an all black SUV turns its brights on and barrels directly at me. Okay. As I'm in the middle of the street. Now, a lot of things went through my head at this exact moment. I can't remember everything because like my brain just thinks very fast. But I remember like key thoughts. Okay. First of all, it instantly reminded me of another time this happened. This has happened to me before. I remember this was years ago. This is back when I was like middle school. Someone did this exact same thing to me. They drove really fast at me to try to startle me. And back then it worked. I ended up like hopping over a cobblestone wall to avoid getting hit. But that's a whole nother story. It brought me back to that. So I didn't move. Okay. I didn't move because I doubted that this person would hit me. Okay. I just like something in me just said, don't move. Just let them do it. If they're trying to scare me, they're not going to get the reaction they want. If this is like some goofy little late night prank, screw it. I don't care. So I stand there right in the middle of the road and they stop a few feet away from me. They stop and they don't beep. Nobody says anything. I don't say anything. I don't react. I'm just staring at this SUV and they have their brights on. So it's like blinding me. I'm just staring straight. And we could have been sitting there for a freaking hour for all I know. It felt like it. It was probably 10, 15 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And it was dead silent, middle of the night, standing in the middle of the road, and all you can hear is the engine just like grumbling, growling, just I'm just sitting there in a Texas showdown or whatever with this freaking SUV. Like you just encountered a wild animal and you're trying to see like, if I move, you move. If you move, I move. Like, but you don't want to run because then it's going to chase you and you don't, you know what I mean? Like you're just kind of just frozen, like just kind of frozen in this little stare down. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, like, this has got to be because I have a bag, right? This has got to be because I have this big ass bag. Like, I just assume like this person probably just gonna rob me or like at first I thought, look, oh, silly prank. Then they're trying to scare me. But when they didn't pull off and they just like had this stare down with me, I assumed, oh, okay, well, I'm about to get robbed. Because then it occurred to me, wait, this person was just sitting there in the darkness. They had their shit turned off, but they were ready for whatever this was. They were sitting here ready for this. So I think to myself, well, I can't run. Because then I look guilty. Then I look like I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. I don't know. Like I can't run. I'm not a runner. I don't know why. In situations like this, I just don't run. So my only option is stand, and that's always my go-to when things get intense, is stand your ground. So I just stood my ground, and I tell myself, okay, I kind of look around. I'm like, there is nowhere I can run in the first place. Nowhere I could get to by the time a bullet could hit me. Okay. If that's what this is, so I'm like, okay, there's nowhere I could go. I just need to continue walking. Like, this didn't faze me. Just act like this was nothing. So I just continue walking. So I just go from the middle of the road. I just start approaching the sidewalk. And as I'm approaching the curb and stepping onto the sidewalk to approach my little gate to get into my little walkway, they pull up. They pull up the car, SUV, and they line their windows up with my back. So that's when everything changed in my head. That's when this went from like here to here. Okay. Because that's not a good sign. And I slightly glance over my shoulder. I couldn't tell if the windows were rolled down. I didn't want to look all the way back because it's kind of like, it's just like that thing in the wild. Like you don't look the predator directly in its eyes. Okay. So that's kind of just like how I operated. But I just wanted to see like, I just wanted to assess the situation. I see, okay, the windows are lined up with my back. And I kind of just freeze for a second. I freeze for a very brief moment. But I had a lot of thoughts. And I don't remember all of them because it was like it was a very intense moment. But I remember in intense situations, I always remember like key thoughts, okay? Like when I almost drowned, I remember exactly what I thought as it was happening. But I only remember one thought, okay? Or like maybe a few, like the things that really stood out. And this day or this night comes back to me very often. So I remember these things. So I remember telling myself one thing, or the first thing that happened was I braced myself. Like I mentally prepared myself to feel a hot sensation in my back because I assumed I was going to get shot. I mean, they lined their windows up with my back. What else am I supposed to believe? Okay. So that was the first thing. Is I just told myself I'm about to feel a hot sensation in my back. The second thing that came to mind was I'm happy with my life. I remember telling myself that. I am happy with my life. I'm satisfied. I'm good. Because I assumed that was it, okay? And then the last thing I remember thinking to myself was I just need to make it to my door. That's it. I can't run. There's nowhere I can go in this moment. I had better luck getting away as I was standing in the middle of the street. But what if they just hit me with their car? Well, that would have been, there was no escape either way. But if running were an option, it would have been back there. Can't run now. Now I'm here. There's nowhere I could go. Can't outrun those bullets. So I just tell myself, I need to just make it to my door. So I just start walking to my door. And we have double doors. In the little place I live, we have double doors. Like one is a metal gate door, and the other is your actual door. And the metal one has like a screen, or I believe mine had a screen built in. But anyways, yeah, metal door. So you have two doors. So even if I were to like rush to the front of my door, or rush to my door to try to get in, I wouldn't be able to like get both doors unlocked. Anyways, I would have been stuck there, and there's like gates everywhere. There was nowhere I could run. Okay, because I know a lot of people say, "Why don't you run? Why don't you run?" There was nowhere to run. Anyways, so I just walked to my door. And the walk is not a long walk at all. That walk felt like an eternity. It felt like I was walking the freaking plank on Davy Jones's ship. Okay, I felt like I was just walking to my death. I just said, okay, just walk. So I get to my door, unlock the door, boom, door one. I get my door two unlocked, and I get them both open, boom. And I start walking in. And as soon as I start stepping foot inside of my house, I hear them peel off. They peel off and take the first turn they could take, which was a left turn, I believe, because I know my street. It was a left turn. And I hear the tire screeching. And then I hear the engine just go off into the distance. And I'm just like, what the hell was that? And my brother was staying with me at the time, and I remember warning him. I was like, something's going on. Okay, someone is looking for someone. They're looking for someone to rob. Something's going on outside right now. It's hot. All right, the block is hot. Stay safe. I was just like, stay safe out here. And I remember I dipped. I went off to my parents' house. Yeah, I went off to my parents' house. I was like, nah, I'm not getting caught out there again, bro. I don't know what's going on. I'm not being seen around here because like whatever this interaction was, whatever this weird shit was, I don't want any more of that shit. So I dipped off for a bit. So about it was either the next night or the night after that. Either the next night or the night after that. I shit you not, the same time of night, like the same 20-minute time frame on the same hour, my brother texts me. I get a text and he says, yo, and it came with a picture. He says, yo, somebody just got shot right outside of our crib. And then I see the picture. It's a bunch of ambulances and just like you see the lights, or it's not ambulance, like police, like you just see like a bunch of lights, like the blue and red lights just all around outside. And I'm going to show you the type of building I'm talking about so you can see, like you can even see the exact type of window he took the picture from. But you just see and you just see like a bunch of commotion, right? I don't remember the exact picture, but I just remember like seeing a bunch of lights from police cars or ambulances. I couldn't tell what it was, or I can't remember rather, but I just remember seeing all the lights. And I thought to myself, holy shit, that was almost me. And the only reason it wasn't is because I didn't run. Now I'm going to explain to you what I think happened. Okay. What I think happened was, I left out some details. Let me bring in some relevant details, all right? Because I wanted to add some suspense, okay? I lived right beside a trap house. And it's funnily enough, okay, this isn't even the first one I've lived right beside. And an even funnier thing is this isn't even the first time something like this has happened to me while living beside one. Now, a lot of people from different countries are watching this video and y'all have zero idea what a trap house is. So to put it simply, think of a drug house that a bunch of junkies and the lowest parts of society are constantly showing up to. Okay, they're not necessarily going inside, but they'll stop by the front door. You'll see a lot of unfamiliar faces, sometimes familiar faces, and it's just like a shady little spot where people will sell drugs and do shady shit. You know what I mean? And if you live beside one, there's going to be a lot of criminal activity going around in your area. Okay, whether it's gang activity, it doesn't matter. It's a kind of a hot spot to be around, and there's going to be shootings. There's going to be people trying to break in, do this, that, and the third. There's a lot of bullshit goes on when you live beside a trap house. You'll end up seeing a lot of shit. Trust me, living beside multiple in my life, you see a lot of shit. A lot of shady shit goes on. All right. Anyways, what I believe happened was they were waiting out there for a specific person to show up. Now, whether this person was set up by somebody else or they've been just, staking out for a while, keeping track of people's schedules, when they're most likely to show up and just waiting for that right moment when the person they thought was going to show up at the right time showed up. Who knows? But they were waiting for a specific individual to show up at that specific time. And I just so happened to show up at that exact time. And the person they were actually waiting for didn't. Okay. Or maybe they did later, but they were already gone because of me. So what they did was, what I think happened is they pulled up on me. And when they were staring at me through their window, I think they were trying to figure out, is this him? Is this the guy? Maybe I didn't match the description. Maybe they knew who they were about to pull up on and they didn't. They were just like, what? Like, this isn't him. Who knows? Who knows the relationship between the people in that SUV and the person that ended up getting shot? I don't know. But something stopped them from killing me in that exact moment. So what I think happened was they sat there and waited to see which house I was going to walk into. And they waited so long because they wanted to make sure I lived in that house I was walking towards. I believe if I were to have run, or if I were to have walked in towards the other house, I would have gotten shot. I've lived in and been around some of the worst areas in the country. You don't always run. There's a time you just have to know how to operate. And it's so funny. People think you hear these areas, Southeast DC, Brownsville, and just all these different areas that may be dangerous, whatever, Baltimore. And you think, oh, if anybody shows up there, they're just going to immediately get shot. They're just going to immediately get robbed or whatever. It doesn't work like that. The truth is, it's actually it's in my opinion. But then again, I do know how to operate because I've lived in these areas my whole life. I know how to operate in these areas. But in my opinion, it's very unlikely, actually. No, it's far more likely that it'll happen there than in like a really nice area. But it's pretty unlikely unless you do something stupid, right? Unless you're walking around with, some fancy shit on, you don't know the area, you look unfamiliar, you're walking funny, you're like talking to the wrong people, you're wearing the wrong shit, you're going to the wrong spots, there's a lot of shit you could do wrong. Who like the uninitiated are gonna go do that wrong shit, and then you look like a big target because you look unfamiliar. You're not from around here, and you reek of being a stranger from a strange land, and now you're just a target. So there's obviously there's just things you kind of pick up on, like survival instincts throughout your life. When you grow up in these areas, you just know how to operate, how to carry yourself. You know what to do and what not to do, what to wear, what not to wear, where to go and where not to go. All right. But in my experience, I don't always run. Sometimes you just got to stand your ground. And in this scenario, I believe that doing exactly that is the only reason I'm alive. Now, one thing that can happen to you when you go to the hood or whatever is you could just be, just like me, wrong place, wrong time. You could get hit with a stray. You could be mistaken for someone else. I mean, it happens very often. People, it's just wrong time, wrong place. It happens a lot. I mean, that's how Big L died, bro. They thought he was someone else and shot his ass, right? Funny story. I actually pulled up on somebody who I thought was somebody else, like years and years ago. I pulled up to, it was outside of a convenience store. We drove at this guy with our beams on, like we were going to hit him just to scare him. And we hopped out and we realized that it was the wrong guy. Shit happens. You know what I mean? Wrong place, wrong time. I remember one time I was at a red light and DC has on-street parking and a car right beside me. I had my window down too. They started letting off shots and I duck my head and I just press on the gas and I run the red light and I just go. And even till this very day, whenever I see a car suspiciously parked off to the side, I still duck my head. Cause I don't know, that shit, it's a reaction at this point. I don't know. But, you could just get caught in the wrong place, wrong time. You could get hit with a stray. I mean, if I stayed at that red light or if anything could have happened while I was at that red light. I don't know who they were shooting at, but let's say the person that they were shooting at shoots back. I'm right beside their car. What if I get hit? You don't know. You don't know what happens. So, that can happen to you. Even if you do everything right, you can just be wrong place, wrong time. And I remember when I was in that street and I had that big bag thinking, oh, I'm just going to get robbed. I thought, oh, I'm so stupid. I never come out the house with something like that. I never come out the house. You just know better than to do shit like that. I had my laptop and I mean, obviously you can't see the laptop and all my stuff in there, but I just knew why did I do this? I have all my shit right here. But I thought it's just such a short walk. It's just from right there to right there. My house is right there. Surely I can make it from there to there without getting robbed. But, I'm gonna show you how it looked. All right, so picture this, right? I lived in one of these. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, all right. So I lived in one of these. So you share a building, you share it looks like just one building, but there's two, there's two sides, So this will be you, this is your neighbor, all right. And I didn't have this beside, but between mine, I didn't have this little driveway here. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is a little more accurate. Okay. So if someone, let's say live here, right? Okay. And mine had a bit of a longer walkway and a little gate right here, but same setup, same little brick structure. Okay. Live right here. This is my neighbor. And then this would have been the trap house in question. Okay. So just picture that. So I'm in the middle of the street. I'm approaching through here and, they're just waiting to see which one I walk. And as you can see, like I said, the metal gate doors with the screen, that's what I'm talking about. And they're all different, you know what I mean? There's different styles like this, but yeah, it's a metal gate door. So you got to get both doors open. So even if you were trying to go in, there's an old ass door too. Even if you were trying to go in, you can't rush in there in time. You got to open 2 doors. You got to unlock 2 different doors. And I mean, shit, if they're just like dumping a whole clip out on your shit, you're not making it in there, bro. You're not making it in there. And the window my brother took the picture from, it's like all the commotion, all the sirens and shit all through here. And he took it from the front window, just like this. He took it right from this little window. This is kind of like how you can just picture it. You know what I mean? This is kind of how it looked. But yeah, if I played that situation differently, I believe it would have played out differently in the worst way imaginable. But I didn't. And I feel like, you know, growing up in these environments my whole life and just kind of like living around homicide and people dying around me or people getting locked up behind or around me, which I mean feels like they've died anyways, because I mean, like, I know people, they've gotten locked up, I've never seen them again. It's almost as if they died. That's what it feels like. Okay. Being around this environment where, I mean, just crime and like the worst parts of society are, it's just common. Like you see it all the time. I mean, like I step out the crib and I'm seeing people strung out on the street. Like it'll be the first thing I see when I walk out my crib is somebody unconscious just in the street. Some junkie, some fiend is just like passed out. When you come up in this environment, and I've lived in many, not just one, I've lived in many, you just acquire survival instincts naturally. I mean, that's what happens. You can become a product of your environment, but you learn how to operate within that environment and you learn what to do, what not to do. And I believe that moment right there was like my exam. You know what I mean? It was like my final. Because if I would have ditched everything I learned all these years living in this environment, it would have costed me everything. I believe when you're dealt situations like this, you have to keep calm. I remember Tyson's Corner, big mall in the DMV, Virginia. The jewelry store got robbed while my mom and I were there, and everybody was freaking out. Nobody knew what happened because we were in the food court when it happened, but you just hear all this commotion and screaming and freaking out. And now, obviously, you know, there's like a lot of mass shootings in America, as I'm sure y'all know. So when you're in a big public space like this and you hear a bunch of people screaming and running at the door, you obviously assume, oh shit, someone's shooting shit. I mean, that's like your go-to reaction. I think everyone thought that, whether they knew what happened or not. I bet like that's just what everybody assumed. And just seeing the panic on everybody in that moment, seeing everybody freak out, screaming. It was really just some guy. He robbed the jewelry store with a hammer. I don't think he even had a gun. And of course, I'm just there at the wrong place, wrong time, like all the time. I remember thinking, okay, if there's a shooter and like everyone's running through the food court at these doors out of the building, why would I just run and join them and scream and freak out? Everyone's trying to there's like 5 doors total, and there's like over 100 people trying to get out these tiny doors. If there's a shooter, he's just going to line all of you up and shoot all of y'all. I mean, y'all are just ripe for the picking. Y'all are just in one big huddled bunch trying to get out this one little exit. It's not going to work. It's like you're at a little choke point. You can't get out. And I was in this restaurant. I don't know what kind of, like some Mediterranean place. I don't know. It's across from the Halal guys, for those who are familiar with Tyson's. I'm pretty sure they're still open. They sell like baklava and shit. I just remember grabbing my mom. Cause she didn't know, she looked a little like, oh shit. Cause she's had it shit. You think my stories are crazy. She's got way crazier stories. So she's like abnormally calm in these types of situations as well. But I remember she kind of looked flustered, like, what the hell's happening? And I remember I like immediately slapped, like, I gotta protect my mom. That's like my first thing. I have to protect my mom. So I grab her and I'm like, come on. And I just asked the dude in the store, because he's freaking out. Like, everyone in the store is freaking, like the little restaurant. It's not even a restaurant. It's just like a little eatery in the mall. They're all freaking out behind the counter. They don't know what to do. And I just ask, like, I kind of like bring him back to, like, I kind of ground him. I'm like, is there a door out? Because I'm already running towards the back, because like there's the kitchen and stuff back there. I'm already running. So I was like, is there a way out here? And I like that kind of panic look in his eyes, that like, oh shit look, kind of left him for a second. And it's like he realized, oh shit. Because like the thing is, when you start panicking in a situation like that, you forget the obvious shit. You forget things you do know, okay? And because you can't think straight because you're panicked, you're flustered. You have to try. I know it's so hard, but I get more exposure that will desensitize you to intense situations like this naturally. But that kind of grounded him. Me just asking, is there a way out through there? Because I'm already going through there. Like, I'm grabbing my mom. I'm already going through there anyways. I'm like, is there a way out through here? And he said, yes. And he grabbed the other lady behind the counter and the other people in the restaurant. And we all start going through there. I'm leading everyone. And then he points through there and we go out and we get out like the back way. We come out into like the parking lot area and everyone's freaking out, screaming, kids crying and shit. It's hilarious because my mom and I, we kind of come to the conclusion by ourselves, like, okay, we didn't hear any gunshots. So just people started screaming. Anything could happen in there. Someone could have got stabbed. It could have been a fight gone wrong. Like, who knows? We actually ended up going back in there. Like, before anything cleared out, before we knew anything, before police even showed up, we're like, bitch, we're not done shopping. We went right back in that bitch. I actually have it all on video as well. All right, so this is us in the back in the kitchen, all right, assessing the situation. Because obviously you need to understand what's going on before you just go running out the back door. What if something's going on out there as well, right? So you see like people, they're calling their people and stuff while we're back there. All right, this is everyone like at the little garage part, you know, grabbing their kids and stuff, rolling out. People were freaking out, like this shit is all over the place. They just like a bunch of stuff all over. But anyways, that's like a little extra story, just a little fun little story. Just another example of how I'm always somehow in the wrong place at the wrong time. I have so many stories like just the most random shit. Like, if y'all want me to tell more, let me know. I'm eventually gonna run out. I don't have an endless amount, but yeah, I just thought this was a different video, you know. But that's just a night that comes to me quite often. You know, something I remember quite often that night where it was almost me, but because I kept my composure, I am alive. So yeah, could have been that dead guy. That's crazy, right? Yeah, rest in peace, that guy. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This one was a little different, a little more like ranty, a little just like kind of random. I don't know. I'm just kind of, it's just, I use this channel as like a big journal, bro. Like I just post whatever. So if you guys want more videos like this, where I kind of just recall a story off the top, then let me know. And I'd be down to make more videos like this. I have so many stories from like the MMA gym and stuff I would love to tell, like crazy stories of like just really intense situations in there. I love telling stories. So if you guys want to hear more stories about my very random and chaotic life, let me know. But share your thoughts in the comments. Have you guys had any close encounters or similar situations? I'm definitely curious to hear that. Let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at I Love Halloween. The O in love is a 0. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace.